Welcome to Cashflow Diary, a podcast where we discuss business, money, real estate, and the sharing economy. As a full-time real estate investor, entrepreneur, and all-around problem solver, I have had the privilege of developing individuals into powerful business owners. And today, the focus turns towards you. Our mission is to help you build your real estate empire by leveraging strategies to grow yourself, your mind, and your wallet. Let's get started.
I personally had a complete paradigm shift when he was talking about having being goal-oriented to be process-oriented. Wow, that was huge. It blew my mind because I had never thought about changing my mindset into, because I've always been goal focused. Here's my goal for the day. Here's my goal for the week. Here's my goal for the year, whatever. And instead of thinking of it as with the goal in mind, change your process. Wow.
That is one of the things one of the major themes and reasons why I wanted all of us to go through this book. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that's really the thing to understand is by operating as systems, that's how you continue to make that progress. See, on Tuesdays, like today, all of you get to witness the system. Now, today we witnessed a really big hole in the system. Okay. And now it'll be filled. Interestingly, to me, actually, it's taken years for this hole to even be found, first of all, because everything runs as a system, if that makes sense. And therefore, performance can be consistent, is my point. Goals can be achieved, whether that be, and I'm making up numbers, whether you're trying to get to $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, 2 million, 10 million, it doesn't really matter. It's systems that help you to consistently produce the thing. So I start thinking about what is the system that can help me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, etc., produce. And that is one of the basic things that I hope as you continue through the book, you're thinking about is how can I develop a system that helps me to produce, me, the human me, produce whatever it is I gotta be and to show up on the court consistently, whatever that means for you. That's just where this whole thing lives.
Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them.
Simply that. Habits being compound interest gets me all kinds of excited, right? Because compound interest is the thing. And I think about, and there's two sides to that coin. If you remember from the book, The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson, he talked about a penny doubling every day, right? That first day, you went from 1 penny to 2 pennies and it doesn't feel like it mattered. Like it didn't matter at all. Even the first week, the first 2 weeks, it's like, not making any difference whatsoever. And it's not until day 24 to where it becomes something that's like substantial and you're just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I like that. Because it is that sustained habit. For example, a habit that I have had for a long time that has served me well is getting through 2 books a month since 2003. That's a lot of books over time. The first month, there was very little, if any, impact, if that makes sense. And now there are times where I feel like I'm a walking book recommendation shelf because there's just so many of them that have happened, if that makes sense. But I like the idea because at the beginning of something, at least for me, I can feel like, man, was that worth it? Or it feels like I should be doing something, almost anything else other than this thing over here. And then I know the team is whether they realize it or not, part of that for me has been things like planning and structure and working through making sure that they're even included in the planning and structure process. Because mentally, I can still operate as I'm just going to go get it all done, chief everything officer, right? And it is learning to keep investing in the planning and the structure and the team meetings and the investment in that process. It is a one of those compound interest type of situations. So I'm curious if anyone else has anything to either say on that, or if there was something else inside of the book that caught your attention.
Go, Sarah.
It's kind of along the same, I think it's around the same part of the book or along the same lines, but I liked where he was talking about the English cycling team and how they made itty bitty tiny changes that you might not ever even think to look at, and then added up over time. It made them really good.
Exactly. And it was simple stuff like sleep. You know, and you think, okay, yeah, I know, but give me the real stuff. No, this is the real stuff. It was what did he say? Painting the van white so that they could see dust.
See the dust.
Like, come on.
And teaching them how to wash their hands. And
that's right.
Paying for the indoor cycling suits because they're a little bit lighter than the outdoor ones.
What? Paying a surgeon to come teach them how to wash their hands. Like, wait a minute, what? Like, what do you mean exactly? Like, what is that? And is there an ebook somewhere? Like, they're just, yes, exactly. And as I was thinking of listening to that, I was going, what are some of those little things that, we do or don't do that also come together to make that compound effect where on their own, they seem innocent, not necessary, just a thing. And I think one of those things is starting with the who do you want to serve worksheet. A lot of people don't see the value in that, but in combination with a whole bunch of, other little things ends up becoming something great. But yeah, it is amazing to me how these small things that are easy to do, which means they're also easy to not do, come together to form a whole that becomes way bigger and more mighty than we originally intended or even thought was possible for ourselves. Is there anything that you've thought of in that process that you're like, you know what, I should do this? Did anything like that come to your mind, Sarah?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, got it.
I kind of felt that way too. I was like, well, how do I translate this into what I should be doing? Well,
okay, got it. So I can give you two very simple things that are a part of that. I know for me, one, not just going to sleep at the right time, but literally tracking it. Not just the length of sleep, but the quality of sleep, and then tracking the exact quantity of water that I consume. Not so much because I'm trying to hit a certain goal or the amount of water, but more that I want to make sure that I'm always constantly consuming enough water and getting enough sleep. Those two things pay a compound effect over time for sure. And maybe those two things are things you are doing right now. Great, but maybe they're not. And I know my mental capacity is better when I do those two things than when I don't, period. That's given the business that we're in, we're making decisions all day. So making sure that our best mental capacity shows up every day consistently is, it's kind of important because it's not always something great and grand. It's tiny stuff like that. Like just making sure you get a water bottle. For some of you, it's simply get a water bottle and keep it near you and keep it full. For me, I tried that. I had to get a little bit more fancy to where my water bottle flashes at me. Yo, buddy, keep drinking, so that it makes sure that it keeps me going. So that serves as additional accountability. But either way it goes, it's a small thing or a seemingly small thing, seemingly something you can, I'll deal with that later. But I know for a fact that it makes all kinds of difference.
Thank you for tuning in to the Cashflow Diary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave a rating and a review. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, head over to CashFlowDiary.com to sign up for our email list, as well as check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Thank you again. Until next time.